We are on our 8th class on emptiness, ultimate truth. Off camera, that's totally fine. The other thing you probably will want to be is to mute yourselves, because otherwise we hear you and then you pop up on the screen.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Nothing has happened so far, but sometimes you'll pop in there and I have to edit you out unless you want to stay. All of a sudden I'm talking and there's your little face. So this will help. So we are looking at still the true nature of all phenomena, the true nature of ourselves, or the self we looked at, but now it is the true nature of everything that appears to us. And we also were investigating how there is an ultimate truth to things, which that all things are empty of independent existence, being fixed, being inherent. But there's also a conventional truth to things too, right? That's how we navigate the world. We do experience things, we have names, things function for us, we drive cars, we do stuff. So there is a conventional nature to things, but it's by convention, right? That's how we're agreeing on everything in this reality. It's by convention. You know, we can, by convention, say, this is a table, this is a car, I am Joanne. You know? But things that are mistaken completely are things that other people are not going to agree to by convention. If you say this guy is the biggest jerk on earth, that guy's wife is not going to agree by convention. I mean, maybe she will sometimes, but overall, she's married to this guy, and she probably thinks sometimes he's pretty cool, right? He's cool enough to bind myself for a lifetime to. So by convention, we can't say that that person is a jerk, right? That's just a completely mistaken view. It's not something that we, by convention, agree upon in this world, right? So we're going to look at more aspects to conventional truth because it helps us to understand ultimate truth as well. They're two sides of the same coin. It's the same reality, really. You know, we're looking at one reality, but we're just flipping it slightly. So, okay, we turn the coin and we see how we function conventionally and how things do exist. And then we look a little bit this way and we see the other side of the coin and how things that normally appear to us as existing in a fixed way, independent of our mind, don't exist at all. So dependent origination, this is what we're looking at today as an aspect of conventional truth. And I think I'm going to use some of my slides a bit because there's a lot to unpack with it, really. But this is a fundamental teaching of Buddhism, just in general, really. Dependent origination, you'll hear, not even just when talking about emptiness and ultimate truth, but just in general, we talk about the interconnectedness of things, for example, or the law of cause and effect, right? That things have a dependent origination. Instead of experiencing them like they originated from their own side. We just came across this big old jerk. That's how we experience them, right? Why do we come across this big old jerk? We just came across him. Or this experience just really sucks. This is a bad, bad, bad thing that has happened. And we think that appearance to our mind of this being really bad exists inherently in a fixed way, right? That's how we perceive it. And that's the reason we get uncomfortable, anxious, fearful, angry, whatever those reactions are, come because we think that we come across an experience that's independently bad. We're not thinking it depends, right? The dependent origination on a lot of things, like how we look at it, maybe if we're in a bad mood or not. You ever have that? You just are in a bad mood, and so everything seems bad. It's bad today. The goat has chewed too much of my hair. It's bad. It's bad today. The goats did like chewing on my hair, by the way, but I was okay with a bit of it. Too much, you know, a little bit, no one's gonna notice, hardly, right? But things can seem so bad, and we never question our mind. We don't question our thoughts, do we? You know, one thing that really starts people in the spiritual path a lot of times is just realizing that they cannot trust their thoughts, or they are not their thoughts, right? It seems like these thoughts are us, but in reality, they depend on a lot of different things for their appearance. Arising like a cloud in the sky, becoming a thundercloud, and then dispersing again. Those thoughts, you know, might be coming from our hormones, a hormonal thing. It might be coming from conditioning, might be coming from things our parents said to us in the past. So many things come together for a thought that have nothing to do with us in one sense. In one sense, thoughts are so impersonal. In fact, all things are quite impersonal if you really believe in dependent origination. Okay, so that's me. That's me trying to get ready on time. The scared look when Missy's come in to tell me I have 20 minutes or something. And she's feeling anxious, and I'm feeling now very uncomfortable. Like this is all my fault. She's mad, and I'm taking it personally. But it's not personal. It's actually just that she gets very anxious about time, which has so many causes coming together. That her mom was always late, the way that her family reacted when they arrived late. You see, there's like a million causes that come into it, including my conditioning, where I'm even taking it personally, rather than being able to step back and say, you know what? Actually, this isn't really about me. I probably will get ready on time even, right? This is a false alarm anyway. This anger or whatever it is, irritation, is not really about me. It's as impersonal as the thundercloud creating its racket in the sky. It's the same. That's me being scared, though. Okay. That's me not realizing dependent origination. Things arise dependent on many things and are not inherent. Okay, so let me put you at the top. I like you guys. I like to look at you guys up there. So dependent origination, this is part of conventional truth, how things exist, right? So you're going to see that it's also going to explain how things do exist, which is empty of independent existence, okay? So dependent origination, all phenomena arise in dependence on other phenomena. So when we look at, say, music depends on a lot of things, doesn't it? And you can think of all of your experiences like music. Okay, so you need the musician, right? When you have the sound of music. You need a musician who plays. You need the instrument, what is just played. You need an ear consciousness that is actually functioning, right? That person can't be deaf, or they won't hear the music. It won't exist to them. or someone sitting out in the auditorium, right? And she's behind the curtain playing. That person that has no ear consciousness, doesn't know it even exists, right? But it depends on more things too, right? It depends on whatever that little stick is that they use, when you're playing your mini violin with your sob stories, whatever that little is, depends on that. It depends on air. It depends on the person who created the cello. It depends on the wood that the person carved it out of. It depends on the person that harvested the wood. Do you see? It depends on infinite things going infinitely back, going back to the beginning of time, actually. And then it's just a series of processes. That music existing is just like a process where you can't carve out the independently existing music, right? It's a process. It's just flowing through the air, isn't it? And then when one particular condition changes, the music stops. Maybe she stops playing, or a chord breaks, the chord snaps, and that's the one that it was going to be played. Something happens and the music stops. But that music didn't go anywhere, really. It just existed in dependence upon many things, and then conditions changed and it disappeared. So if you think about your experiences like music, right? Your experiences are like that, aren't they? There's you, which you think you're the important musician, right? Just playing your little violin experiences, right? Maybe a little drama. Oh, no drama llama, right? You have something that, you interact with, say you interact with a person or an experience that you think is bad. And then because of your conditioning, right, that came from your parents, and that came from their parents, and that came from their parents, but not just their parents, everything, a multitude of things, right? Who they were married to, the country they lived in, you can hardly blame anyone for their political views. You know what I'm saying? It's all, right? You can't blame anyone. It all is so dependently arising. So when you think that something, if something exists with emptiness as lacking independent existence, right? We don't just come across it. There it is, inherently bad, independently sucky, independently rude, or independently hot, independently desirable, independently delicious because it's chocolate. Oh, it's delicious because it's chocolate. Wait a second. No, it depends on a lot of things to even be delicious, which is that you're hungry, right? If you're overly stuffed or you have a stomach ache, not delicious. So something is independent, it exists independently. It's like someone that can stand, right? That person can stand independently. It can stand alone, right? Versus something that can't stand alone, is dependent upon other things. I don't know if this is a good analogy for you, but the problem is that everything in our world appears to be independent. It appears to stand alone. It stands alone as sucky, as bad, as desirable, as delicious, as everything, all the things. It stands alone. When in reality, everything depends, for one thing, on our mind, which has a million different conditions, right? The thoughts that happen to be arising, how we feel, or what our hormones are doing. Are we hungry? Are we tired? Right? All those things go into how we experience something in that moment. Dependent origination. So if you look at this and break it down, all phenomena, including our thoughts, objects, individuals, and the whole universe, okay, as vast as the universe is, they're conditioned and arise in relation to other things. They arise in relation to other things, and they're conditioned, right? They're conditioned by even the whole universe, how we see it is conditioned by our own experiences, right? The knowledge that we possess or the ignorance that we have, and also the knowledge of our forefathers. You know, at one point, you know, we talk about this, everyone thought the world was flat and the universe was very different to them. But now, because of a lot of causes and conditions, a lot of sacrifice actually on the part of those people who first said the world is in fact not flat. I think someone was like executed for that, right? Galileo or someone. Anyway, I should have researched that beforehand, but you get my drift, right? That the way even the universe appears depends on our perception. And our perception depends on the knowledge we possess, the knowledge of our forefathers, everything, or perception, even how we interact with things. I mean, these days, there are people who believe the world is flat again because of social media, which is because they want, you know, good marketing by politicians and other countries want us to be so polarized against each other, against the other party, right? That's the, you know, reason that you have these crazy conspiracy theories, I think, partly, in part, that they want to set us against each other so their side can win. When things are different, if we have a world war going on, everyone in our country feels like we're one, right? We are connected as one, and we have to fight this other enemy. And that other enemy is a whole other country or regime, and we are one. But in the absence of it, oh, now we have to fight against the other political party because they're going to destroy the world. You see what I'm saying? It's like good marketing for inherent existence. Good marketing totally depends on people falsely believing that things are exactly as they appear. They're inherently existent, independently existent. There's independently people who are wrong. There are independently people who are bad, people who are a threat to us, right? And that things could go so wrong. Well, we don't know how things will go. Things could be going so great if we could see how it all unfold in the future. You ever had that happen where you think it's so bad? That might be a copy. Oh, okay. So I want to go back to this because I feel like perhaps it helps us. But let's look at this one this time, okay? Ultimate truth says this bad experience lacks independent existence. So let me give you an example, okay, of this. My little dog Zumi, not last week, the week before, had one of her eyes removed. And I dreaded this. I thought this was so bad. She's going to suffer through the surgery, and then she won't have one eye, and it's going to be terrible. And I did everything I could to prevent it. Spent thousands of dollars on her treatments and the specialists, and you know, was going to spend thousands more on trying to avoid this surgery. And so I thought, oh, that, you know, so I spent a year giving her like 1 million drops a day, literally 1 million, because I thought it's so bad that my baby is going to be a pirate. I don't want it for my baby, you know? So everything I could do because it seemed bad. It seemed like, okay, this is bad. But then when she had surgery, it was only like a day or two later, literally. It really was almost like the same day, honestly. She had her surgery that she suddenly seemed happy, like she hadn't seemed in a long time, like a year for sure, you know. And I started to think, oh gosh, she's probably out of pain finally. You know, because we were trying to keep the pressure down. That was the real problem, was this pressure building up in her eye, which may have been causing her migraines for all we know. But I didn't know that, right? I thought I was trying to hold off the bad experience for her, which was going to be having the eye removed. When for her, once she had it removed, it was so great. She was back to her old self, so happy, jumping around, played with toys. She hasn't done that in forever. And then her one big move that she really says she's so happy is that when something exciting is happening, right? And I haven't seen this in at least a year, okay? Because she must not have felt good enough to get that excited about the pet store, treats, pup cups, going somewhere. She knows all those words, right? She gets real excited, but not so much this past year. And then after her surgery, which I thought was so bad, now she's so excited that she's skidding her butt. She like skids her butt across the carpet or the floor. She goes like this. She's so happy, just skidding her anus. That's her sign of pure delight. I don't know why it is, but pure delight is like, just gonna skid my butt all across the floor. I mean, she does this for like a long time. Okay, she's that excited. I don't like it for my carpet, but I liked seeing it because she was so happy. And suddenly, this surgery, which I dreaded, became the best thing ever. I was so happy it happened and we did it. And I didn't wait any longer trying to prevent this, you know, and doing other things to prevent it. This was just the best thing that could have happened. And I don't care if she looks like a pirate. Doesn't matter to me. She's beautiful to me with an eye or without an eye. So, was that experience getting surgery, was it independently a bad thing? It seemed like it because I was dreading it so badly and trying to prevent it. No, because the conditions changed and I saw that it made Zumi so much better. And out of compassion for her, I was so happy that this surgery that seemed really bad was really a great thing. And losing her eye was a great thing. Not only was it not bad, it was really good. It was awesome. So happy we did it. So you see, from its own side, that experience lacks any independent existence, whether it's bad or good. Who can say? So when we think that something is bad, it's because we're thinking it's bad from its own side, you see. We're not questioning it. Is this really a bad thing? Or could this be really, really a good thing? And wait, got some text up there. Dependent origination tells us that this law of cause and effect, right? Karma, but just law of cause and effect, you know, this happens and then that happens, explains the arising and ceasing of all things. The reason that that bad experience ceased is because conditions changed and I saw it differently. And now the surgery appears as a good thing. It's a completely new object to me. I'm delighted. I'm happy that I have that big bill on my credit card. I'm just full of delight. Right? So if we have something that we think is a bad experience, we can cause it to cease by knowing that it arises from causes and conditions. Do you see how that is? Because it arises from causes and conditions, you always have the option to change a cause, to change a condition. Because it's not fixed or independent, we can change causes, conditions. We can change our own conditioning. Even we can change our own conditioning on a deep level. So those things that used to appear as anxiety invoking, hurtful, depressing, or whatever it might be, don't even appear that way to us anymore. Totally disappears from our life because we've changed the deep conditioning that we've inherited from our life, our parents, their country, their blah, blah, blah. And it goes on to the beginning of time. Isn't it cool that your reactions have at their origin? Well, actually, Buddhists say that there is no beginning to time. It's beginningless and endless. Like we were here in some state always, and we'll be here in some way always. There's no beginning and end. The only things that can end are experiences, temporary experiences. And we can cause bad experiences to disappear. So we're going to see if we can do this, right? With some bad thing that's happening right now that you feel is happening in your life at this moment. Let's meditate on this, okay? I want you to take a situation that you think is bad right now, whatever it might be in your life, whatever is appearing to you as anxiety inducing, frustrating, causes you anger or disappointment or whatever it might be, okay? Something that seems bad. Last week we looked at a poor person, but this week it's just a bad experience. But something that appears in your life, you know, and continues to appear, like something that just seems bad, you wish wasn't in your life, right? Whatever it might be. And you try to think about dependent origination and cause it to disappear and become something else. We're going to dissolve it into emptiness, that bad experience, and you're going to reappear it as something that's good, that you can embrace somehow. Because it doesn't exist in a fixed way, you can do this. So we'll look at all the causes that come into play that manifests this appearance, right? What are the causes that go into it? And I want you to really contemplate this. You know, if it's, you know, something that happens in your life, and it seems like a temporary thing, go back to all the causes, right? It's because of the way I'm viewing it. The way I'm viewing it is because of this influence in my life. And that arises because of influences they had in their life, maybe suffering in their life. It goes all the way back and back and back, and really start to unravel all the different causes here. And then you're going to think, okay, what causes and conditions could I change that would make this seem like a good thing? What if I looked at it with compassion for myself or compassion for others, or the ability to break this cycle? Because I'm seeing it, I have the ability to break this cycle in my life, which is coming from my own mind, my own mental habits creating this cycle. And now I can see it and I can break it. How wonderful. You know, go from, you know, thinking it's bad, like Zumi surgery, till it's so great. I would just skid my butt across the floor. I'm so happy about it. What's more like this? With a big smile on her face. She has her legs. I'll have to take a video for you guys at some point. This is really good. You know it's good then, okay? And that's happening. So you can change, you know, the way that you see things, right? Let's try and see if you can cause this to disappear as a problem because it's empty and reappear as something good, something positive, a teaching, something that that helps you, something that could be the best thing for the future, your future, others' future, whatever it might be. Okay, shall we try this? Oh, you're muted, so you can't say no. Okay, let's try it. So if you want to get into a nice, comfortable posture for meditating, check that your back is nice and straight. Your shoulders are dropped and relaxed. Breathe through your nostrils. And breathe from your diaphragm. Breathe deeply, but naturally. Choose something that appears bad right now, a negative experience, something bad that's happening to you or in your world. Contemplate how this appears to be bad to you because it appears to exist as bad independently. This bad experience depends on many causes and conditions. It's a dependent arising, coming from many things. Please spend some time contemplating some of the causes and conditions that make this appear as bad or negative. Trace these causes and conditions back and back and back. Disappearance as being bad is as ephemeral as a piece of music that you're playing. You're the musician playing the instrument that causes it to appear. Your mind appearing it. All you have to do is change one cause or condition, and that music completely stops. Similarly, you only need to change one cause or condition, and the suffering that comes from that bad experience disappears. Like it dissolves away into emptiness. Try to discover a cause that will make this bad appearance disappear and turn into something that you see as good, positive. Now, please focus on one cause or condition that you'll remind yourself of this week so you can disappear this problem whenever you want to. Please contemplate briefly as we conclude. But that experience is empty of independent existence. It's empty because it's conventional truth. It arises from many causes and conditions, including our own perspective and conditioning. Please contemplate this about your original problem, bad experience. how it is empty. Gently relax your concentration and slowly arise from your meditation. All right, so if you close your eyes like this, we dedicate the karma we created together today. Firstly, to all those in our lives that might need our prayers, and for one another, whatever it is that your family, your friends, and you may need. We pray for you to have that. We pray for our politicians. Send them healing energy. Pray for their goodness, their wisdom. We pray for those who've recently passed, Bob and Dr. Jim. And the wives they left behind, Carol and Dr. Susan. We pray for my Aunt Jude and Uncle Leonard. We pray for Nanny Pat, who has cancer. And for Felix the cat. May he quickly find a loving forever home. And we pray for Elaine in our Sangha. May she have healing and peace. We dedicate for our own enlightenment, for the sake of all beings. May we swiftly realize the light of our true nature. And finally, we dedicate for all living beings. May all beings attain enlightenment. May all beings realize the light of their true nature. Thank you.